Washington, D.C. It was fabulous. I was like, so unexpected from both sides of the aisle. That's why I like your new little sticker. You can kick them all out. I think that it might be a welcome change. There are some good statesmen, and we don't want them to lose their seat. But it's going to be critical that we find out exactly who they are and make sure the ones that are not worthy are kicked out. When I first looked at this district, first thing I hear is, oh, it's not winnable. Well, that defeatist attitude alone is why we're in the position that we're in. When you want freedom bad enough, you will fight for it. And you'll say that, as Barbara Boxer said, no seat is safe. I can take this lady out. She's not doing very well, and there are enough people in my district. Some of those Democrat votes, but I'll tell you something, there are about 90,000 people coming out in off-presidential years. That's the most that have ever come out here. This sitting congresswoman won in a special election to where less than 30,000, what was it, 18,000 people came out. A congressional seat. You might not have been able to vote for her, but she sure is voting for you. And everything that she's voting for is something that's going to destroy your family and is going to destroy your legacy. That's what she's doing already, because that's what the left does. She voted by 11. She got 11,000 votes that election. And in my district right now, they have 90,000 people at the most that ever come out. I need 70,000 votes to take a congressional seat. 70,000 votes in a district where you already have 45,000 registered Republicans and another 50,000 independents. It's not mathematical science here. What we have to do is get angry enough to really want to protect the interest of freedom. And I don't need to give you a long list of why we should protect the interest of freedom. You know, a lot of people now are in the movement because they like the fish, didn't realize that there was water until you started to see the sand. You started to think, what in the world are these guys doing out there in Washington, D.C. that we're starting to feel their pinch in every area of our lives. And we might even think that we can sustain ourselves for a little while, especially if you have resources. They'll never touch me. You're right, it bankrupt the hard part of our society first. Very few appreciate how difficult it's been the African American journey in this country when they were targeted by the ideas of the left. When they began this social engineering in the 60s, that they were going to have a sexual revolution and a war on poverty at the same time. That this community was trying to mainstream their lives during the 60s. The civil rights movement was to remove governmental barriers. Jim Crow are governmental barriers, that they said remove these barriers. They're trying to mainstream their lives, and the left, the hardcore left, under Johnson, Lyndon Baines Johnson at that point, decided he wanted to declare war on poverty. He bought into this idea of redistribution, that he was going to perpetuate it, and they had a very vulnerable community to begin this on. And it's underappreciated how healthy the black family life was at that time. Black family life, 78% of husbands were in their homes with their wives raising their children. You fast forward that 40 years later of this social welfare state, and now we have 7 out of 10 black babies born outside of marriage. It's an equal opportunity destroyer. We're beginning to see the same situation in the white community now. The mainstream of America, the majority community during those same 60s, out-of-wedlock birth rates were at 3%. Today they're at 33%. You start breaking family life, you break the community life. And that's exactly what we see when we look at the pathologies that are in our hard-hit communities. And we need to turn this around. And the only way we're going to turn this around is for people to understand freedom, for them to want to protect freedom, for us to really get aggressive to protect the interest of freedom. I was very happy when I heard from the Tea Partiers. And next thing I know, we're having this aggressive healthcare debate, and then we're coming into this year, and the left decided we had one opportunity. They knew by now that there was some aggression in the society that was not going to let them stay in power for too much longer. But if we keep on the results we had last night, they might stay in power. Someone just got up and told us what they're putting up on their website already. Barack Obama has already made a commitment to take black caucus districts like this one that I'm running in, and because they have like about 40-something of them across the country, and pour millions of dollars into them. They're fast-tracking how they're spending that stimulus money, because they know that when people get a little bit of income, a little bit of job, then the next thing you know, that people is they're addicted to government. And then they won't vote against it anymore. It's like crack. Once you've had a taste of it, you start saying, well, maybe it's not so bad after all. And that's what they're counting on even with this health care bill. Then once you're 26-year-old, you're 25, 24, 23, and all the rest of them keep living their little free lives on mom and daddy purse string, because now the mom and daddy can carry them on their insurance. People start thinking that maybe this wasn't such a bad idea. Once they start getting your kids to where they're going to college and paying for it, you might think, well, you know, maybe it's not such a bad idea. The same way we became very comfortable with the government running our education. And then we wake up one day and find out that they've been teaching secular humanism, inconsistent values, and we wonder why our children are having challenges in their personal lives. They might be able to get ahead a little bit professionally, but their personal lives are falling apart. This is serious business that we're in. And it starts by creating an environment to where we understand how to live. You know what really amazes me? Because people ask me all the time, how did you get so lost? Why would you just totally lose track of your life that way? Well, it's really easy, because in every other discipline, we understand that there are rules to govern those disciplines. We know that there are rules to math and science. There are rules to engineering. There's rules to there are rules to fashion. There are rules to everything that we do in our lives. But when it comes to how to live, we think people can just kind of make it up as they go along. And that's what begins to happen. So when you have bankrupt family life, and you have people that are living in these single-headed households, the first lesson that the children learn is that commitment is not important. And if commitment is not important, then they go out into their community and they don't see commitment there either. The tragedy of the commons is what they see. Somebody else will come clean it up, because they keep hearing this governmental promise that it's not yours to think about. Somebody else will think about it. And now all we're hearing is that we'll make sure they do. It's a very, very difficult place that we're in. And so after this year turned around and I thought about what I was going to do, how was I going to move it to the next level and get engaged? Next thing I know, I get a telephone call saying, we've looked at a seat that you might be interested in. And I came out here and I came back from Washington, D.C. to go into this district and try to take the seat. It took a whole lot of soul searching. I was not looking to go inside. I felt that I could do more effective work on the outside. My organization, in fact, I met one of my supporters in here this evening, so I've been working with you and sending you support for the last 10 years. Because we've got three prongs. We work in policy, we work in media. That's why you guys see me in media. I've got to make sure that I get out loud and clear the voice of freedom. And then we have a pastor program. So we work in these three areas as an organization, but I needed to do more because there's no political environment now to further these ideas. But media could be here, so I don't even want to start name calling who was sent to Washington over the last 2 years and what we're up against. But I knew that when I got that call, I needed to at least consider it. So I did some soul searching. And I was looking at all of the reasons that I shouldn't run, until I went to a convention, a conference that I was already on my calendar. It was with the National Religious Broadcasters, and it was down in Tennessee. And there they had various people talking about their work. You know, it was like a religious environment where the Billy Graham Association was one of those people that were telling about their work. And most people are familiar with the Billy Graham Association. And I went into their particular session just to hear about their work. And they were talking about the work that they were currently doing in Haiti, which is right about the time that the walls and everything else fell down in Haiti. And they were telling us how their doctors were over there trading doctors as quickly as they could to help people in Haiti, because their doctors, American doctors, were using the blood of their own arm in their own IV so that they can help these people survive these bricks and mortars that have fallen upon them. And I'm sitting there listening to this about them, these doctors, American doctors, who at this very critical point in our country were under attack. That the President of the United States of America told these doctors that they're so greedy they will pull somebody's tonsils out just so they can make some money.